are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. I am briefly going to be making a playlist to put all of the Terrafirmacraft live streams into, because I figure that's probably important. Okay. Both of the previous live streams are saved to that playlist, and I'm going to save the current live stream to it as well. Please let me know if that breaks for whatever reason and it's not functional. But we're back in. We're in Terrafirmacraft. So, oh, shit. Hello. Game. Cooperate, please. So, small issue. For starters, as you can see, the river is freezing over. I have been getting all of my grains, but barely any fruit, vegetables, and a decent amount of protein. It's late autumn, it's November 4th, it's Sunday, the year 1000. We've still got the fish in the river, so I'm not out of food, and I've got a number of grains stored up, actually. The smithy has seen an upgrade. Underneath all this snow, I've been placing bricks, mud bricks, but still bricks. Yeah, the smithy will be continuing to get an upgrade as time goes on. At some point, I want to do a chimney here so I can do an actual charcoal forge. Let's see, we've still got our primitive anvil here. Our current has moved inside. And I actually added a few mods to the mod pack. Let me pull up CurseForge real quick. In the particular mod pack, I have added create ore excavation, carry on storage, ore excavation, and washing. So I can now properly use the empty pan alongside regular gravel to produce some like minor ores and the like. Ultimately, it does basically nothing. But it helps me a lot with actually maintaining my ores, unfortunately. As for the reason why the smithy has had to slow down on its construction, in order to make mud bricks, we need a lot of straw, and unfortunately, pretty much everywhere near here, I'd have to go into the forest to acquire any straw. Pretty much everywhere near here has gotten hit with a snowstorm. So it's not exactly feasible to go running off into the woods just yet to go get more straw. For now, we're doing alright. We're currently... I'm just going to clean up the stones that are hanging around, because you can get stones from panning. And I don't want those lying around. I'd rather have them turned into blocks and stored in a more compact manner. I also just need to organize my inventory by and large, because I've got a lot of stuff going on and not a lot of paying attention to what I'm doing, really, to be honest. Like, these ingot molds do not need to be in my inventory unless I'm actively metalworking. Neither do the copper ingots, to be fair. And that's kind of why I want to make a charcoal forge back here. Is so that I can actually get into making a proper metal anvil. I did figure out how I'm supposed to pick up silty loam bricks, so I know how to do that now. So I'm no longer just grasping at straws about that. They are to be broken with a shovel, which is important to know, because previously I was trying to break them with a pickaxe and wasn't really getting all that far. I was breaking the block, but not getting the item back. So yeah, this is going to be the chimney for our charcoal forge, because it needs at least one block around it in a 7x7 total, where it can see the sky. So that's going to be the chimney for the forge. I'm not going to make a bloomery yet, which is how I would be making like cast iron and the like. Mostly because I, unfortunately, don't have the materials for a bloomery. I don't have pretty much anything I need to make that happen. So, for now, we're going to focus on making a charcoal forge, because I can make charcoal in a kiln, or in a hole in the ground, really. Like, I'm not restricted on charcoal. I have been breaking a ton of shovels trying to, you know, break up the snow so I can actually work. But yeah, we're in and we're alive, so we are still doing fine for the most part. I mean, it is winter time. I have a rather restricted food supply, but I'm not all that stressed about it. Mostly because despite the restrictions to my food supply, I have managed to store a large amount of food. I just wasn't entirely... I wasn't paying a lot of attention on how I was supposed to use it. So, like, I've got a bunch of grains hanging around, which I should have in the sealed vessel in the basement here. Yeah, I've got a bunch of grains. Those expire next year. There is no reason why I should be going hungry with grains that are going to expire next year. Like, this meat's going to expire in about 3 days, which kind of sucks, but is okay. Like, I can work with that. Now that I've got the aqueduct and the sluice figured out, because I did that off screen, I got a little aqueduct coming in through the wall here. But now that I've got that figured out, like, I have water in the basement, and it's relatively easy to keep it thawed. Because flowing water can't freeze, and this technically isn't like a source block or anything. It can supply me water for like my jugs and shit, but really this is just alongside with the sluice, the workstation here. But yeah, I've been panning the gravel for a bit here because, frankly, I need to be doing something to be productive. Unfortunately, I can't just wait out the winter and not do anything, because it lasts a really long time, and I'm not gonna be able to survive on just basically doing nothing. Like, I need to go into the woods here in a bit and chop down a few trees so that I can get my hands on... I didn't seal that again. Whoops. But I need to go into the woods so I can get my hands on actual, like... I need to get my hands on straw. I need to get my hands on a couple of other things. Notably, I need more wood for my fire pit, because I've burned through almost all of the birch that I've got. I've got some maple hanging out back here, and I believe there's some Douglas fir. But I'm kind of trying to keep the birch in high supply, because I need the birch for tanning. In order to do my tanning, I need to have birch handy. So yeah, I'm seeking better options. For now, I really want to get the forge going, because once the forge is up and running, it'll save me a lot of effort in the future, because I won't have to work so damn hard. And like, I can always come down into the shirt hole. I can always come down into the shirt mine and just like get more rocks as long as I have a pickaxe. So there's actually no stress for me to need to like rush or anything. But I do need firewood soon. I do need to kind of focus a bit. So we're going to start by diving into the water, because I see something growing down here. And I believe it's lily pads. Yeah, it is. And then there's some seaweed underneath here, which I can actually get my hands on. Or, yeah, it is seaweed. I need seaweed for a couple of things. Well, your food. Seaweed actually counts as a vegetable for my food supplies, so I am invested in getting my hands on seaweed whenever applicable. Native gold and silver deposits. That's not terrible. I fortunately don't need gold. I can't use rose gold for much. But I will invest in some agriculture come the next year here. I just have to wait until springtime, because no way am I going to be able to move water as it is now. Which, that's another thing. I really ought to figure out the length I need for the aqueduct to go between the hot springs that are over here and my base. Because I would like to have a hot springs pool over there. So I do need to figure out that distance, because I know there is hot springs down this way. And if I can get my hands on them, I'd be much improved. Now, I don't actually know what I'm supposed to do with this artist's conch. I wonder if I can cook it in a stew or something. But yeah, we're mostly in the woods for now, hunting for straw. I need more of it. Music kicked up. I need more of it. I need to be able to actually, you know, make my I need to be able to make my bricks. If I'm gonna keep using the mud bricks, I need to be able to make them. I also need a couple sticks, because I've got a lot of sticks at the base, but I need a couple for odds and ends things while I'm out and about. And it never really hurts to pick up more. Though I am gonna restrict myself to mostly just birch twigs. I am fortunately not... Ow. I am fortunately not out here to mine today, but knowing that there is saltpeter out here in the woods is very useful, because I can turn saltpeter into salt. And yeah, this is all dolomite, so that's helpful. Because looking at salting, you can do it by grinding halite. Salt licks can be found in forests, can be placed and picked back up. Vinegar is made in a barrel by sealing a fruit with 250 megabytes of alcohol. Brine is 1 part vinegar, 9 parts salt water. And certain foods can be pickled. I see. So, I can actually attract pests if I'm not careful by letting my food go off. That's good to know, actually. This is white cedar, which is handy in some things in the hard rock version. Oh, a quail. Oh, sorry, that's a pheasant. I lied. But still, gonna eat him. We are mostly out here in pursuit of things like beet seeds for the coming spring. Not that I can get the beets now, unfortunately. They've already died, but I can still harvest them. And these are garlic seeds. So I don't need this artist's conch, but I do need the garlic seeds for the coming spring. I'm mostly out here foraging. I don't need wood so much at the moment. I mean, I will soon, but I don't need it right now. But I do know somewhere in these woods there are hot springs. I just have to find them. I tend to stumble across them a lot, but for some reason I'm just not finding them today. Because yeah, I've come across this particular pond quite frequently in my travels. But yeah, the grains, barley, rye, and wheat can all be refined into their particular grains by crafting them alongside your knife. And when you do that, you get the grain, you get some straw, and you get to keep the seeds, which are all quite handy because the grain is kind of self-explanatory. You keep the cereal grains and can thereby, you know, use them later for food processing. The seeds you want so you can replant, duh. But things like the... Oh, there's malachite over here. Cool. I can snag some malachite while I'm over here, but I can't really stop and spend too much time. What do I have in this vessel? Nothing. Cool. Then this vessel can be the random extra junk. Actually, let's store the food that I've been gathering in the vessel. That way it's preserved and lasts a little longer with no stress. God, where is it? I'm coming over here because this is a bush of some description. Yeah, this is snowberry. Snowberry has its berries in September, so its name is a little misleading, but it's actually quite helpful to have a lot of berry bushes handy because they will almost always produce their particular berry at certain times of year. You just have to know when. And you can grow them pretty well wherever, but they spawn naturally in the woods. Ooh, that is barley. Lovely. So I've got some extra barley seeds handy. That's nice. I don't know. We're getting back out of the forest again here. And yeah, unfortunately... Ah, no. This is the malachite hole that I had a while back. I was digging a lot of malachite out of the ground over here. Which I then refined into copper. But I can take this opportunity to reclaim the torches. I'm not going to take the supports. Partially, they help to denote the area. Especially under cover of winter when it's kind of a pain to fucking tell where you are. And beyond that, I need this seed. It might cause a pretty drastic cave-in, and I would like to leave that cave accessible. So, we'll travel up the hill here. The snow makes movement slower, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I've got to wonder if maybe I should have added JEI to the mod pack. Because just enough items would have been able to tell me things like backpacks. Which... Yeah, I do not see an option for backpacks in the book. In the Terrafirmacraft book. So that's unfortunate. So yeah, I am gonna go ahead and download JEI soon. What is this? Cabbage seeds. Woo, another plant. Fuck yeah. Another crop to grow. I haven't actually been out this way, mostly because that's all diorite, I'm pretty sure. And so most of this area is actually brand new to me. I just haven't been out this far. That's dark and spooky. I'm not gonna head in there. Yeah, that's gotta be some kind of stone if it doesn't break to my shovel. Fortunately, I do have keep inventory on, so if I ever need to, I can just, like, drown myself or something and die real quick. Ah, those are just mossy rocks. Okay. Ah, a hot spring. Hells yeah, I was just talking about this earlier. But these are hot spring waters. Hot spring water is fantastic in that it lets you you very quickly regain HP while you're standing in a hot spring or in the spring water. You can't drink it, which I'm not entirely sure why. Like, it's possible it's just too hot, but I feel like that's kind of a lame excuse. But you can't drink the hot spring water, but it does supply you the benefit, if you will, of a much increased speed to healing, which is actually very helpful. Like, if you just went and got your ass beat and you came home and now, you know, you're standing in the hot spring water, it's very helpful to get that boost. So at some point I'm going to want to run an aqueduct from the local hot springs back down to my house, because we are currently at a higher elevation than the river, which means that I can effectively run an aqueduct for, you know, the blocks and meters and kilometers and whatnot that it will take me to get back to my base. Currently, I saw this musk oxen, so I'm going to hunt it real quick, because simply having that extra bit of meat and the large sheepskin hide means that I can get my hands on more wool, and wool is very useful for me in particular. I'm hoping to make wool yarn. Here we are. I can prove the benefits of standing in a hot spring right here and now. So as you can see, I just healed up from taking that, frankly, a bit of damage. It wasn't that bad, by just standing in the hot spring. And this is the river, by the way. This is the same river that I live on. And that, I believe, is gypsum across the river, which we can go check with the prospector's pick. Yep, it's gypsum. So gypsum's not terrible, but it's basically useless for me. I don't need it. But the hot spring that's here, knowing that it's just down the river, I should, realistically, go home and start establishing my aqueduct very shortly after this. Now, I can't tell if this is at a higher or lower altitude. I believe it's at a higher altitude than my house, because my house on the river is just upriver from, or is just up the slope from the river. Like, it's almost on the same level. But I actually think that I'm on a separate river right now. I know it still runs into the same... I know they're all tributaries of the same larger river, because I've been down to the coast that is at the end of all of this. But my particular river is not this deep in this region. So I'm inclined to think that maybe I'm on a different river. And the river I'm thinking of is back this way. Just to kind of give an idea. This is all limonite, which is very helpful in iron processing. So I'll be collecting it. It's fucking worthless to me right now, but once I go to make things like cast iron, it'll be very helpful. That's a baby goat. Blah. Yeah, I'll have to come out with a fresh inventory and just start clear cutting some birch logs and the like. There's a lot of wood in this forest. I'm not gonna wear out the woods, but I will be putting a strong dampener on them by doing so. Now, I do know how to acquire saplings. I'm pretty sure I showed that in the last video that I made. But to acquire saplings, you just have to break the leaf blocks on the tree, rather than just cutting the logs. You can still cut the logs afterwards, but in order to get a sapling, you need to break all of the leaf blocks. Which is why I have a Douglas fir and a maple over by my base. I'm pretty sure I just heard skeleton noises, so there must be a cave underneath here. Yep, pretty close to the surface too. Ouch. That's not something I want to run across. So I'm still just picking berry bushes as I find them. Because collecting them and bringing them back to my base means I don't have to run out into the forest to go find them. and they grow just fine out next to my base. So there's no downside to having them at my base. Yeah, this is that pond that I talked about earlier that I've crossed paths with more than a few times. I am unfortunately quite out of inventory space. I could store the limonite in the vessel. Oh yeah, I can get the barley seeds out of my offhand. But yeah, fortunately these woods aren't home to a lot of predators. I've seen a few around, but I tend to hunt them whenever they appear. Because it keeps my neck of the woods safer to have hunted the predators nearby to extinction. I have seen things like saber cats much closer to the coast, and I've hunted bears nearby, but nothing ever that bad. Not really. I mean, with keep inventory on, it's really easy to be really ballsy and just kind of go for it, because why not? What are the odds that something actually manages to kill you, and what are the odds that it matters? That's a birch stick. That's a primrose. This looks like wild barley. Nope, it's rye. So yeah, we are going to cut the rye to let fresh grow. And I am going to drop the rye seeds here on the ground. So let's see. I have raw meat in my vessel here that I could eat. Or, nah, you know what? That's actually a much smarter idea. Let's eat the raw meat. Because the raw meat's going to go bad until I cook it, and I'm not going to be able to cook it for another, like, couple days. I do actually need more water in my jug. So, with that all handled, we'll move on. I believe I do still know where I am, but yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I'm not quite wrong, but I'm not quite right either. There's more rye. Which I always want to cut to give more rye the opportunity to grow. I need the rye cut piece. Yeah, I can't stack it with the previous piece, unfortunately. And in that case, we'll gather all of the seeds that I can. Because unfortunately, I'm not able to stack the rye. Because they were cut at 2 different times. They'll go bad at 2 different times. So, I will just have to continue on my way. But yeah, so that's my base over there. And what I was afraid of is that I was actually wrong about where I was. I was not on my river. There's another river that's just over there that is quite close, and that's a direwolf. That looks like a direwolf pup, but it's still a direwolf. And they're dead. Cool. That's kind of what I mean by I've been hunting the predators. Dire wolves spawn in exceptional quantities near here, and I'm very not keen for them because they are hostile on sight most of the time. So them just existing around me is dangerous, unfortunately. So I do believe these are all snowberry bushes here. So we'll plant them in a few rows here. Yep, and then I've just got an extra one, so we'll start another row. Yep, there we go. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, we are currently just kind of hanging around while the seasons do what they do. I do have snow blocks in my chests, which is nice. Let's see. I need to store my extra junk. Where did I put my sealed food vessel? Okay. And then I will process the rye into grain and then into flour here briefly. But for now, we're going to put the leather away with the rest of it. Right. I need to put all of my seeds away. I can put the straw in the vessel full of straw, because I have actually gotten into the habit of just storing extra junk. Anytime I have something extra and it seems like I might not need it, I store it, because I can never go wrong with extra stuff. I can always go wrong with not having enough. So I made a mistake a while back. I made a lot of malachite powder that I have since downloaded a mod to let me actually like smelt back into to let me smelt it into copper. But before then, all it was good for is just green dye, and unfortunately the green dye is basically worthless for anything but dyeing, and I don't need to dye anything. So I had a bit of difficulty with that, and I've since, you know, downloaded a dedicated mod to fix it, but it was a bit annoying at the time, because it was one of those where it was just like, look, why the hell can I not just turn it into a powder and then, like, unprocess it later, you know? So I've since downloaded a mod that basically returns TFC to a previous version of itself. It used to be that you were able to just go and do that, and they removed that functionality for whatever reason, which is very annoying, because anytime you look anywhere, they're like, yeah, you should be able to use a sluice to or you should be able to use it in such way that you're able to create additional an additional bit of, you know, copper to work with for your alloying and whatnot. It makes it more efficient to have it in that way, and for some reason that has been removed in subsequent updates, which is really annoying. So yeah, this dough expires in a week. If I shove it in here, it lasts a month and some days, which is fantastic. We're going to go put the cabbage seeds in the seeds vessel, because I do want to keep those. I was going to say, somewhere around here I have limonite, and I'm acutely aware of it. I do need my spindle, because I need my knife and the sheepskin hide to make wool, and then I need the spindle and the wool to make wool yarn. And now, I don't actually know how to do fishing. I have to forge a fishing hook on an anvil. Okay. And then, yeah, 2 wool yarn, 3 sticks, and a fish hook will let me go fishing. Ah, okay. So fishing is basically worthless. I am suddenly not interested in fishing. So it is late autumn. It is November 6th. And we are currently actually doing pretty well. I do need to process these silty loam bricks. So we'll start placing those down to process them. So yeah, I am going to have to utilize the forge, unfortunately, for this, which doesn't make me feel great about it, but whatever. And let's start prepping this rawhide. So, certain sizes of hides are worth more or less leather. Rawhide is worth the most at 3 apiece, followed by normal hide, followed by normal sized rawhide, followed by small rawhide. Interchange normal with medium, please. But so you have certain sizes of rawhide available to you that is applicable for different things. The bigger the hide you put in, the more leather you get out at the end, which is very handy to know. I am going to process these twigs into sticks, and the subsequent sticks are going to go in this chest. Let's go put the spindle down next to the loom. Now I have a gold nugget, which I'm gonna put in here along with this small malachite, and I keep walking around with this birch door in my inventory because due to size restraints placed on you by TFC, you can't put birch doors or things like sluices down just in like a chest. You have to put them down in the world. So in our case, we're just gonna do that for the sake of argument. I am gonna go put the pan down because I don't need it in my inventory. And we're gonna go logging. I'm gonna take my chisel back in here because I don't actually need it for what I'm working on. I will, however, take both sides because I can use them to get my hands on more saplings, which I can then use to grow trees closer to home, which will save me on walking, basically. I won't have to move so far, which means I won't have to work so hard to get my hands on the saplings. Let's see. We've got a vessel with some dough in it. That's fine. I should probably take a vessel full of food with me. The charcoal I know I can leave here. The question is where. That works. Let's see. We'll take my knives, because I'm going to need them. We'll take my torches, because it helps to be able to see at night. We'll take an extra javelin, just in case. This one is very beat up, so we'll take the additional extra javelin. Yeah, let's make sure we eat before we head out, and then we will, yeah, we'll take this raw mutton with me, because said raw mutton's going to expire in about a week. Okay, and then we sip water, make sure all of my jugs are full, and we stuff the mutton in this vessel. Cool. Okay, let's drop the wool yarn off so I'm not trekking it everywhere with me, and now we should be good to just go chop some trees. I do realize that my inventory is still very full for a guy who's literally going out to do one thing and one thing only, and that's chop trees. Part of that is I like to travel with a large amount of water in my pocket, so I travel with a couple of full vessels of water. I like to travel with a bucket in case I need it for whatever reason. I am going to collect some more seagrass while I'm out. But yeah, we're mostly out here today just to get our hands on odds and ends items. Notably, I want to get a lot of lumber because I need it for some of my construction projects in the future here. Now, ideally, I would have taken a couple of rocks with me for napping purposes, but fortunately, because I'm just going into the woods, I don't actually need to do that. I can just pick up some rocks and sticks off the ground and run with those. So I can save myself a bit of inventory space at the outset by just, like, taking taking into account where I'm going and what I'm doing, um, which helps a lot, actually. Um, I can do things like keep seaweed in my pocket because seaweed won't spoil for a bit. Um, I'm reasonably sure that I can replant the seaweed, but even if I can't, it's no loss. It grows in the river anyway. I might as well harvest it. Um, first axe broke. But I need a lot of firewood so that I can make charcoal, which is an unfortunate reality of the existence of the charcoal forge. Fortunately, once I have the charcoal forge assembled and built and like everything's ready to go, it'll be a lot easier to keep it around because I can just feed it logs instead of charcoal. I'll still need to feed it charcoal whenever I want to do smelting, but I can keep the charcoal forge relatively low burning to help protect it from wasting fuel. But yeah. And that's the best way to get your hands on, like, the saplings I found is there will be these little shrubs that are, like, small trees. And you can just hit them, and you'll almost always get a sapling or two. Which is really handy, because a lot of the birch trees are really tall, unfortunately. What is this? I need a knife. You are Morning Glory. Okay, cool. In that case, I don't actually care. I just needed to know what it was. Morning Glory is a vine plant. It'll trail over anything, including, but not limited to, the entirety of the woods if I let it. I personally have no reason to keep cutting it back, really, other than it's actually really useful in keeping the snow off, because it will trail and block snow from spawning whenever snow falls. So I do actually want to grab a bit of it, but I'm not all that interested in keeping a lot of it around. Mostly because it'll very quickly fill up my inventory, and I don't want that. I do see a berry bush or 3, so I will take an opportunity to collect those. I just picked a snowberry, so that's lovely. Yeah, we have a Labrador tea, and I'm not interested in Labrador tea. So yeah, we'll collect the snowberry bushes that are here. You can tell a plant is dead or dying when it's browned. Most plants in this game tend to be browning when they're not healthy for whatever reason. So it's important that I, pick them up whenever they are, like, close to dying or whatever. Because that's just, like, simple forest keeping, really. Unfortunately, in my case, I really do need to make sure that I'm very, very in line and in tune with how my forest is doing. Because otherwise, I might do something like clear cut all of the birch and then never have any birch wood again. Which I can get around by simply doing something like collecting birch saplings as we go. It's very helpful to do that. We are going to take a sip out of this jug because I'm getting a little lower than I'd like on water. We have a vessel here that's got food in it, so we'll take the opportunity and stuff the snowberry bushes and the fresh seaweed in it, because those are currently my only food items. The Morning Glories can go over in the corner of the inventory, so they're organized a little. Yeah, I've also got a pine sapling, which is fantastic. We've got some fallen birch leaves, which I don't quite care about. I mean, they're helpful for starting a fire, but once you've got it, you don't need the leaves anymore. So you can actually save yourself some inventory space. You can always use leaves if you happen to be unfortunate and spawn mid to late summer. You can always use leaves to start a fire. That is handy to know. For anyone starting out on Terrafirmacraft. But it does make... They become very quickly outmatched by things like straw, given the speed with which you can acquire a lot of straw. This is a Douglas fir, and I did not get any... Damn, I didn't get anything out of that. That sucks. I had hopes, and I didn't get them. So yeah, that's just a fallen Douglas fir. I believe occasionally trees will just fall in the woods, and you kind of, you know, you come across them. I don't know if it's so much that they fall over after the world has spawned, or they can spawn in as fallen trees. I'm not sure. But, meh. That's occasionally you find fallen trees and you just kind of move on. So we have a lot of birch wood now, which is handy. And it is starting to snow again, which is unfortunate because I need to be able to navigate through the woods here a little. This axe is going to break, which is fine. I'll just nap a fresh one. Yep. I just want to double check and make sure that I don't have any extras in my inventory before I go and nap a fresh one. This is the axe head recipe, in case anybody needed that information. I know I don't, but I've been doing this for more than a few hours now. So I like to give information, even if it isn't necessarily relevant. And I know I'm waffling to fill space, but really, currently all I'm interested in is just getting my hands on a lot of lumber, which I can do while talking, fortunately. It's one of those fun tasks that I can do without needing to quit talking for a bit. So we'll just harvest a bunch of lumber. Let's see, we've got 5 birch saplings, which is fantastic. We've got a pine sapling, which frankly I wasn't even aware there was pine in these woods. We've got about 6 inventory spaces, which is about 6 full log piles of logs, which is fantastic actually. But I do want more. I want as much wood as I can physically carry back with me. And to that effort, really, I ought to start setting out with like 6 or so vessels in my pocket. Because with 6-ish vessels, I could just carry extra junk that I might pick up on my way, like extra food, malachite, because it's always a good idea to pick up more metal. If you happen to like walk by and find it, it's always a good idea to pick it up. But like now I'm officially capped out on inventory space, except I have an extra vessel, so I can do things like shove the saplings in it and the extra morning glories, which actually I could just get rid of the morning glories. I don't need them. Ooh, malachite. And yeah, there's very good reason why we don't really want the snow to cover the ground too much. For starters, you cannot find malachites when the ground is covered in snow. Like, you just can't. This is a magnetite, which is also useful, but for different reasons. Yeah, I'm not seeing a big reason to keep anything else out of this vessel right now, so we'll just stuff the magnetite and the malachite in there. And that buys me more than a few extra slots with which to keep chopping wood. And I can even, like, I can go as far as napping extra stone axe heads now, and then put the rock down to continue doing things like collecting snowberry bushes, which I have stored in this vessel. Yep, okay. We'll make a couple extra axes, and we'll cut down a few more trees. And then we'll probably have to head back to the base. Because we are unfortunately running out of inventory space, and I would like to put everything down before I get to a point where I have an unfortunate amount of stuff in my inventory and can't, like, carry new things. Notably, I want to be able to carry back more malachite if I can, because just having more malachite at the base is handy. I would like to be able to carry back things like magnetite stones, extra limonite, any new plants I might find, or seeds, because seeds are always handy. It always helps to have extra seeds around. You know, it's never a bad thing to have extra food supplies. Ah, I found wintergreen berries as opposed to snowberries. That's lovely. These are the kinds of things I'm talking about. Like, I pick up extra junk as I'm wandering because it is necessary as part of foraging. It's just unfortunate because I wind up with a full inventory and then I want to store more stuff. So I am going to need to look in the crafting menu and, like, hope that I can find out how to build a backpack. Because now I should be in a position where I can actually just start assembling a backpack. Provided, of course, that it doesn't take glass. I haven't figured out glass blowing yet. Primarily on the basis of I haven't found a lot of sand. But yeah, we'll head back to the base for now. Because we're about out of inventory space. I can't reliably produce more. Like, I can eat a few things and whatnot, but it's not really saving me. I could probably save some inventory space by putting all of the jugs into a vessel. So I might pursue that in the future. But really, I have a rather restrictive inventory space for all of the things I need to collect. Like, logs don't stack up to 64 because this is Terrafirmacraft. So in efforts of, you know, following semi-realism, logs only stack to like 16. So there is that. And we are officially out of space, but I can buy a little more by moving my sticks around. Which is basically just me, like, whinging about, you know, my axe existing. And axe is gone, so we are cool. So yeah, we've got a couple of logs here and there. But we got a full, like, 12, almost, stacks of logs in my inventory. That's more than enough for me. I'm just gonna take it all home. I don't believe you can store logs in, like, a large vessel to carry more of them that way. And even if you could, you can only carry, I think, one large vessel at a time and still be able to move. So, an unfortunate reality of the large vessel is that if you simply have too much, you cannot walk around. It's the same with barrels. Even if the barrel is empty, I'm pretty sure, you can only carry one at a time, before you just, like, can't carry more. Which is unfortunate, but it helps. It helps to be realistic about it. Not every video game character is Steve, even if I am technically Steve from Minecraft in this. We'll clear out some space, plant the wintergreens. Okay. Make some snow blocks for the sake of it, because it's fun. Alright, now then, this loam dirt needs to find its way down here to the riverbed, because I do actually want to start farming soon, and unfortunately in order to do that I need to have the loam dirt do what it does. These sticks can all get turned into the same kind of sticks to save space, and can get shoved in this chest. And now I've got a full stock of sticks, so I'm actually not all that worried about getting more for doing anything other than moving stuff Let's see. I do have more bushes I'd like to plant. So yeah, I don't know how much snow blocks I'm gonna need, but in the effort of maintaining the continuous idea of fuck it, I'm gonna need it later, I just like to keep a lot of it handy. Okay, charcoal has been collected. I do need my fire starter and my block of shirt gravel, which has been turned into flint. So, time to go grab another block. It doesn't need to be shirt gravel per se, but shirt gravel makes my life easy because I had a lot of it on hand. And I don't want to do something like put raw shirt down, because that's begging for a problem. And like, unfortunately now I could actually utilize gravel, where before it was basically just a nonsense nothing. Why the hell do I even have this block? But now I can utilize gravel in panning, so I'm actually very invested in making sure that I keep track of where I'm, expending my stuff. And I just made a fuck ton of torches. Cool. Frankly, I wasn't even aware that that was an option, that you could just use sticks on them. But that is neat. Right. Birch logs need to be put away, and the vessel full of food can be put in the large vessel to help preserve what's in it. This vessel has a couple of items that need to get sorted elsewhere. Notably, that thing's full. These malachites can get ground up. Really? Can they not? I thought they could. Yeah, oh well. We'll go plant the pine sapling somewhere, because it does actually help to have extra lumber types. And I'm not entirely sure how this is going to grow. But we'll just plant it there for now. Methinks we plant the birch on the opposite side of the river. For a short amount of time, that's going to be really inconsiderate of me to myself. After it's done, it'll mean that I can keep this entire side of the river devoted to just birch. Also, muskoxen. That's not really a question or like anything elsewise. It's just, fuck yeah, muskoxen. Give me that meat, please. I have run out of space, haven't I? Where did the meat go? There's quail or pheasant up here, too. Neat. Really, I want to start farming the muskoxen, but until I have that sorted, it's not feasible for the time being. Muskoxen are considered woolly creatures, so anytime you shear them, you will get wool out of them, which is fantastic, really. So I know those little bastards are around here somewhere. Where are they? Yeah, I can hear the damn pheasants. Are they stuck in that cave? Must be, because I don't see them up here. They've got to be stuck in here. there you are. This is a quail. Not that it matters, but it's good to know. It's good to know the differences between the creatures that I'm looking at, because it is important in the pursuit of, you know, keeping everything more or less intact. Hi, Natty, what's up?
Hi. I get an hour break today, and I want to take it here pretty soon at like 5 or 5:15. Could you bring me McDonald's if I give you money?
Yeah, absolutely, honey.
Alright, I'll see you, in a few then?
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, you can pick me up and we can go, because the other person on hand is a key carrier.
Okay.
So, whatever.
I'm streaming.
I saw it.
I love you.
I love you too.
Why do you sound like you're gonna cry, honey?
It's like I'm gonna cry.
Oh. Well, don't I feel like a right prick?
Well, why?
Because I asked the girl who says she's gonna cry why she sounds like she's gonna cry.
It's okay. Just call me when you get here?
Yeah.
Do you want to go stop and get it first, or do you want to pick me up?
Honestly, it's 6 in one, half dozen in the other.
Okay. Pick me up then, so it's just easier.
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
I love you too, baby.
See you when you get here.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Alright. Bye.
Bye. She always sounds so sad lately. Makes me feel bad. Okay. Wool has been made. Let's go process the rawhide real quick. Or at least toss it in the barrel to be processed. I'll have to process these hides after I get back, unfortunately. But I will be back. It will just take a short bit. I am going to stick the excess raw food in together. And then I do need my spindle. And the wool. And bada bing bada boom. Fortunately, you make a lot of wool yarn whenever you make wool yarn. It's really nice. Alright. I am gonna go get her. I will be probably an hour. So I am gonna kill the stream, but I will resume streaming later this evening. Thank you all so much for watching.